Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1410. 1410. Hi, I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Vallemont. Today, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, and we will get to the segment called The Wow That's Wild Files. Some interesting stories. You'll go, wow, that's wild. That's Mike. Thanks. And yesterday...
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, I am so tired. My joints... so achy. I did a lot of walking with Basil the Boxer because...
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because we were visiting with his ex-uncle, and we had a good time, and there's a carbuncle somewhere that I don't want to touch, and this was probably this much of a song. Wasn't that much, but this much. So
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I want to thank you for listening to the song that started the show today. But yeah, so Basil saw his
Mike's
Uncle Jesse,
Daily,
I guess ex-Uncle Jesse,
Podcast.
and that was fun because Jesse is getting married this year, and his fiancée Jenny did not ever meet Basil, so this was her first time to meet him. And it was so much fun. We met at Seal Point, which I posted a podcast picture of last week. Basil looking out over the bay. That was at Seal Point. It's next to Foster City. It's in San Mateo. And it was a fun day. And what Uncle Jesse, look, who just walked in, what Uncle Jesse likes to do is tell me how old Basil looks. He never really says decrepit, but he goes, well, yeah, he says, like, look, he's got a limp or something. And I'm like, I don't see. This dog has a lot of energy for almost 9 years old. So, but we had a good time, and somebody walked in. And another person. And then another one, and another one. Hi, Ma! It's Benita the Rodeo Queen! How you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
How come I wasn't invited to this excursion?
Well, it was something planned, kind of last minute, so yeah. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make that delicious Irish beer. Oh, boy.
And you're going to pour me some right now.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
And it's being poured now. Oh, this isn't working today. There it is. The pouring device.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today is of another excursion, Mike's excursion, that took place this past weekend with Basil the Boxer. And this is at Fairmont Ridge, where I tend to go. But I haven't been there lately a lot. And I went there on Friday. And there I met the beautiful Brooke. Brooke, oh my gosh. Wow, eyes. Some people are knocked out by blue eyes. Blue eyes, baby's got blue eyes. No, I like brown eyes. And this girl had some dark brown eyes. But she had blonde hair. And she was with her son. And her son, this tiny little tyke, said, can I pet your dog? And I said, sure. And he says, zoo pet. And I was, what? And the mom laughed. A zoo pet is when you pet your... when you go to the petting zoo at the zoo, they tell you to just have your two fingers. What's this? The pointing finger and the index finger? These two fingers, you point them kind of like when a cop is saying, go this direction, and he's directing traffic, he does the two finger thing, and he's like, going this way. Instead of one finger pointing, he does the two finger pointing. Anyway, Cafe Anyway, this young little tyke, what was his name?
Anyway,
Cafe Anyway. Aiden, maybe. Something like that. And he was touching the Basil's back with this little pet. Basil could care less, but it was a fun day. And maybe that's a good thing to teach kids to do the zoo pet, because I remember goats at petting zoos when I was a kid, coming up and eating my shoelaces. and sheep. The sheep would just, they'd poop on you, and I know. But they had a fun time. The sheep did, with Mike, the young Mike. What's going on? But, yeah, so that was my weekend, and I hope you had a good one as well. Then I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, and I don't think I can do this week. I don't think I have much energy for this week, especially since I had to get up early yesterday. I don't know, but we'll see. Hey, the podcast picture today was of the Fairmont Ridge, and so there was a girl with pink hair, I think, red, pinkish, purplish, something like that I talked to at Fairmont Ridge also that day that I met the beautiful Brooke. And this girl, we were having a wonderful discussion about San Francisco and about the Beta Breakers thing and about some other events like Pride where people just show up naked. And she says, some of that you see, you can't unsee, said this young lady with the pink, purple hair. And I said, yeah. And then I said, can you take a picture of me with Basil? Oh, and she wanted a picture with Basil, too. So somewhere out there on someone's phone is a picture that they took with Basil. He is quite the celebrity. So a big thank you to this girl. And I was going to get this girl's name, but then this strange woman came up. And she's got her son and her husband with her. And she said, my son lost his keys and his wallet, and he's not right in the head. Walnut? Whatever. And she goes, have you seen a key or wallet? A car keys or wallet? And I said, no. And the lady I was talking to as well said no. And she just kept saying the same thing over and over again. Why? Why do people repeat themselves like 8 or 9 times? It's so... Okay, and I told her, all right, well, if I see it, I'll let you know. She repeats it again. So my question to you is, people, what's that all about? MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. You can see all the past podcast pictures and the Amazon link. I have no idea if she ever did find those car keys or the wallet, but I kept an eye out and didn't see them. You can call the show, 336-MM-DAILY. You can email the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. If you're going to do any shopping on Amazon, click on that Amazon link and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and that helps us out. There's also the PayPal. You can help us out that way. And you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. All there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And now, the wonderful segment called...
The Wow, That's Wild Files.
These are some things that'll make you go, wow. Oh, wow. I saw these stories and I was, wow. North Korea, not Carolina, but North Korea, said today it will launch thousand-fold revenge against the U.S. after the United Nations imposed new sanctions on Pyongyang for its nuclear and missile programs. Yeah, these sanctions are big. The UN Security Council unanimously approved tough new U.S.-drafted sanctions. This happened on Saturday, including a ban on coal and other exports. This will cost North Korea over $1 billion. And I can't click this fast enough.
Why make trillions when we could make billions?
Quote, we are ready to retaliate with far bigger actions to make the U.S. pay a price for its crime against our country and people. The reclusive nation warned via their Korean Central News Agency, and they would take a stern action of justice. North Korea regularly makes flamboyant threats against the U.S. and the West that get kind of funny after a while. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and his North Korean counterpart Ri Yong-ho both attended a meeting of foreign ministers in Manila. This happened yesterday, but avoided any direct contact. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi publicly admonished North Korea to abide by the new sanctions. do not violate the UN's decision or provoke international society's goodwill by conducting missile launching or nuclear tests, Wang said. He told Ri. Now, Ri did not respond publicly. North Korea's Rodong Sinmun News website published a commentary dismissing the sanctions as cooked up by the U.S. and adding that the U.S. mainland is on the crossroads of life and death. Tillerson said the North must stop testing missiles for an extended period. This is not a give me 30 days and we are ready to talk. It's not quite that simple, so it is all about how we see their attitude towards approaching a dialogue with us, he said. And so the sanctions ban North Korean exports of coal, iron ore, lead ore, and seafood, and also prohibits countries from increasing existing numbers of North Korean workers employed outside the country. The sanctions also ban new joint ventures with North Korea and any new investment in existing joint ventures. The U.S. has yet to decide, the Trump administration has yet to decide how to respond to Russia's move to expel hundreds of American diplomats, but plans to deliver a response to Moscow by September 1st, said Rex Tillerson, the U.S. Secretary of State. A day after sitting down in the Philippines with Russia's top diplomat, Tillerson said he'd asked clarifying questions about the Kremlin's retaliation announced last month following new sanctions passed by Congress and signed by President Donald Trump. The Trump administration has struggled to determine how the move will affect the U.S. diplomatic presence in Russia, as well as the broader implications for the troubled relationship between the nuclear-armed powers. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov emerged from the meeting declaring a readiness for more engagement with the U.S. on North Korea, Syria, and Ukraine, among other issues. And Tillerson broadly echoed that sentiment, saying the two countries had critical national security issues to discuss, despite deep disagreements on some matters. Well, congressional Republicans failed to repeal the Affordable Care Act, so a former Trump volunteer wants to repeal his donations to the party. Robert Hegman is a former Trump campaign volunteer and a sworn enemy of Obamacare, and he's filed a lawsuit where he says he and fellow Republicans had donated to the GOP with the understanding that the party would repeal the ACA once they took control of Congress, because apparently they hate, Democrats, and they particularly weren't happy with a black president, I guess. I don't know, I could be wrong with that, but Republicans doomed repeal efforts last month left this guy, Robert, feeling scammed. He accused the party of running a racketeering and mail fraud scheme to rip off anti-Obamacare donors, and he wants the GOP to return every donation it received since 2013. He's 70. He probably bought a lot of gold. And he's just probably not the nicest. I get a bad feeling about this guy. But what do I know? Apparently, he contributed well over $1,000. Probably $1,000.50. And so he wants it all back. I'm guessing. But maybe I'm just reading too far into this story. Who knows? But I found that amusing, and it made me go, wow. And as we wrap up the Wow That's Wild files, this is sad. The beautiful Anna Faris, who sings and has that crazy voice and laugh. You know, she and Chris Pratt were a thing, but apparently they've decided to call it quits. Anna and I are sad to announce that we are legally separating, he wrote in a joint statement shared on Facebook on Sunday. We tried hard for a long time and we're really disappointed. Our son has two parents who love him very much, and for his sake, we want to keep this situation as private as possible moving forward. We still have love for each other. We always cherish our time together and continue to have the deepest respect for one another. You know, I work with a guy on my weekend job who claims he and her got together. Anna Faris. And I believe that as far as I can throw this thing. Let me see how far I can throw it. Yeah, that didn't go very far. Uh-oh. Samsung seems to be having a good year after the last one that was affected by that Note 7 crisis. You remember the one where those darn things, they just kept blowing up all the time. Well, maybe not that badly, but they blew up. And the company Galaxy S8 introduced new technologies such as edge-to-edge display. Do you know what that is? Now, I work with a guy who's had edge-to-edge display on his phone. He had some kind of a Windows phone. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. So the whole you don't have the borders on your cell phone. By the way, as I grab my cell phone, I forgot to mention Haley set me straight last time I talked tech on this show. And by the way, it was awesome having Irene Pena on the show yesterday. She's so great. I hope some of you got to catch that interview and her cool new song, which is a cover of the OK Go band. You know who OK Go is? They had a cool song called Here It Goes Again, which I used to love to play. It didn't become an enormous hit, but I remember when I played it on the radio, you know, you would play all these dirges of just this crap over and over again. You know, the whole, I hope you know, this has nothing to do with you. And then all of a sudden you'd play this, dun, 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 dun. I said you better, here we go again. And so the lovely Irene Pena covered it, and you can hear it on the last show. But my friend Haley chimed in and said, PWND is an online gaming term used to represent the domination, ownage, or just general defeat of an opponent. Archaic by now, circa late 90s, 2010 is when this was used. Example, ha ha ha, you got PWND'd, that's a bad word. Delete your account. And I said, that's not nice. And then Haley said, it's the gamers that say it, not me. And I said, gamers, why do you want to hurt me? And Haley said, gamers are mean. And then I thanked Haley for listening to the show. And Haley said, thanks for providing quality entertainment on a daily basis. I am almost at Oh yeah, he's about to go to college. And then I tried to tell him, go get him, Tiger. And I thought I had sent him an emoji of a tiger, but he said, no, that's a wolf. And I wrote, oops, emojis. And then Haley wrote the following, which I thought was this made me laugh out loud. He said, the Emoji Movie did, all caps, nothing to further the emoji education of our society and is therefore a cinematic failure. I think I broke something. Oops. Thank you.
Busted eardrum.
I know, I got a little loud there. But thank you for that clarification and the segment called...
Oh my god!
Email for mail and your calm and not so calm mess.
Which, of course, you can always email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com, or call me at 336-MM-DAILY, or comment on the myriad of social media that you can find the show on. All those links at mikesdailypodcast.com. So, this new Samsung dealio is going to have 4 cameras. The next inline Galaxy handset is expected to have 4 onboard cameras. Dual cameras at the back as well as the front device. Wow. 2 16-megapixel cameras at the back and 2 8-megapixel ones at the front. A good field of vision to let the users differentiate easily between background and foreground. This is going to be essentially... it's essential for augmented reality-based applications. Wow. That's going to floor people. Also a 4K display. And edge-to-edge display. And displaying embedded fingerprint sensor. They're going to get that, and a bigger battery, and a 7nm processor. Okay. maybe Haley can explain all those to me as well. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Next show, it's going to be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your walnut.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!